Today, we discuss how truly evil socialism is, why and how it will ruin America, and why and how you should debate it with your leftist friends. I am Bob Nettleton, and I am going to save America. Hello and welcome back to another terribly boring podcast of Bob Saves America. This is part number 1 of a 2-part series discussing the topic of socialism and how it is the destroyer of nations. So one of the scariest things you see today are millennials with the open embracement of socialism. Well, a lot of people don't know what socialism is, and they think that isn't socialism the fairest way to govern? No. More no's. All of the no's. No. It is not. It is actually probably the most unfair way to rule a country. But a lot of people don't even know what socialism is, especially millennials, or they think they know what socialism is, but they have no idea. But to start, let's just define the term outright. So according to Google, which changes their definitions of words politically, not a conspiracy theory, but according to Google, socialism is a political and economic theory of social organization that advocates that the means of production, distribution, and exchange should be owned or regulated by the government as a whole. Basically, the government controls the market and the distribution of wealth in a country. So what does that even mean? Well, let's give a super oversimplified example so that everyone can understand. So let's just say there's 3 people in a room. You, me, and Betty White. You're a doctor. I flip burgers at Burger King, and Betty White is a public speaker. You make $4 a day as a doctor. I make $1 a day flipping burgers, and Betty White makes $1 public speaking. Well, what happens is under socialism is the state is going to take 2 of your $4 and give 1 to me and 1 to Betty White. So at the end, we all have $2. Now, people on the left might say, that's great, equality. Because the left always argues from a standpoint of equality of outcome rather than equality of opportunity. Well, sorry, but this is immoral, inefficient, and wrong. And here's why. No matter how you may feel, you, I, or anyone else is never entitled to anyone else's property or money. Taking other people's money or property is theft, even if you vote for it. Just because you are jealous of someone else's success doesn't mean you or anyone else deserves any share of it. Socialism is ruled by envy and jealousy, not morality. It is inefficient because it kills innovation. I mean, just think about it. Why work harder than anybody else in any occupation if regardless at the end of the day, the government is going to decide what you make? You don't control your own destiny. The government does. I mean, why go to school for 8 to 12 years and work your ass off if you're not going to get any of that money? Well, you're going to go to school 8 to 12 years to become a doctor. Well, we're going to allow you to make $40,000 a year and then tax you on half of that. There would be no reason for anyone to want to succeed or do better than anyone else because there is no motive other than the idea or the belief that everyone has everyone else's best interests in mind. This is the ideal of socialism. This is the fault of socialism. And pro-life tip, you might want to realize that people act in their own self-interest. It's not selfish, it's just natural. For example, if you have a little extra spending cash and you want to go out and spend it on a gift for your wife, do it. That's your right. The state has no bounds in telling you what to do with your money. Well, you want to go buy a gift for your wife? Well, actually, we can use that money to go and buy this person this because they deserve it more. It's a subjective way to live, and it's just disgusting. And leftists, people who want to make themselves successful and make a better life for themselves and or their family by trying to make more money doesn't make them greedy or selfish. It makes them ambitious. And why do you care? As long as your life is getting better at the end of the day, why do you care how much I or anyone else is making compared to yourself? It is because socialism is engraved and founded by envy and jealousy. Anyway, moving on. So why do millennials find socialism attractive, or why do they view it favorably? Well, first, probably be one reason is the education system. They're taught that way, and they're taught wrong. But in regards to the education system, let's just take student loans for example, and the government involvement in their lives. Well, this portrayal that if you go to college and get a degree, you're going to get a job. And not only a job, a well-paying job. Well, it's exactly false. It's the exact opposite. Well, it turns out when you get a college major in drama, theater, fine arts, lesbian dance theory, you're not going to get a job. Or they're hard to find. Or they're not going to pay you a lot of money because anybody can pick up a damn camera or draw. I'm not saying don't get those degrees if you want to go out and get them. Chase them. That's great. That's your right to do that. But just don't be expecting a lot of money. There's no money in these markets. And when you're promised all this money, but graduate college with $50,000 in debt with bills on top of that, and you can't pay for it or afford it because you don't have a job, you have every right to be pissed. So getting your college loans and everything eradicated probably sounds like a great idea. But what millennials don't understand is that college isn't free. Someone has to foot that bill. And wouldn't it be convenient if everyone else had to pay for your education? Taxpayers pay the bill at the end of the day. College isn't free. And millennials seem to forget to realize that government was the ones that got them there in the first place. But probably the main reason why millennials view socialism so positively or favorably is because they are taught that it is good for all, moral, and fair. And free market capitalism is evil and only good for the people at the top. Well, it turns out that's the exact opposite of the claim. And in some sense, millennials have the right to be upset. They have every right to be upset. But it isn't capitalism's fault. It is the government's fault. And their over-involvement in everything. Every single thing that government touches dies. If you're looking to make anything worse, let the government touch it. Let the government handle it, and it will fail. I understand that a lot of people who just got out of college or in college who don't have a lot of money are upset, and it's very easy to point fingers at people who do have a lot of money or are successful in life and try to dictate what they do with their money, mainly because you yourself are not in that situation. And I get it. Having money makes things easier. Well, put yourself in the person's shoes that you were trying to advocate for how they spend their things. Imagine you 20 years from now are all of a sudden successful. You're on the flip side of the situation. You're making a lot of money, so you're making $50K a year. Why should anyone else tell you how to run your life, tell you how to spend your money? It's wrong. It's immoral. Just think about it. And this all goes back to one of the fundamental arguments of socialism, which is the good and or well-being of the collective versus the good and or well-being of the individual. And this is why socialism is evil. Redistribution of wealth is wrong. Even if you take the most extreme example of the most rich person in the world and the most poor person in the world, if you take any money from that individual who is rich as can be, it is still immoral. Because rich people are still people too. And you must realize that at some point in their life, that individual did something to accumulate that wealth. And you must also realize that the richest people in the world also pay the most people in the world. They provide the most jobs. I mean, why do people hate on the 1% when they're the ones providing jobs, allowing a lot more other people to make money, to make a living, to better their own lives? They aren't selfish. They're just ambitious. The state determining what people's wants and or needs are is always problematic because wants and needs are subjective. Nobody else can determine what your wants are or your needs other than you. So other than the moral argument or the inefficiency argument, maybe it's also important to note for those who still want to view socialism as this positive thing and this great thing for the world, maybe just remember this. Socialism has been implemented over 100 times in the last 100 years. It has also killed over 100 million people in the last 100 years, an average of 1 million people per year. Socialism is not only the destroyer of nations, but is also the #1 destroyer of modern humankind. Well, thanks for everyone if you made it this far. We're going to hop into the Social Justice Warrior Roast of the Week. But just a heads up, part 2 will be coming out probably this Monday. And the topic is going to be how to debate your leftist friends on socialism and why you should debate your leftist friends on socialism. I'm really fired up about it. There's going to be a lot more reasons than what I gave for in this podcast because I wanted to have this as more a descriptive and or knowledgeable podcast to get people to learn about it. But anyway, without that, let's tune into the Social Justice Warrior Roast. So today's Social Justice Warrior Roast is between Jesse Waters and a vegan. Hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did.
I wish I could have half of that, but this doesn't look vegan, and I'm trying to be vegan.
You're a vegan?
It's really hard because I don't know if I told you I'm from Wisconsin.
Okay.
And cheese was like one of my favorite things.
See, that looks pretty good. It's a little rare, medium rare.
Yeah.
Is
got
this
some nice dead animal, dead cow hanging on your fork.
Is this bad that I'm eating meat?
If you go hunting, that's a totally different story, right? The blood's on your hands. Right now, you're kind of just enjoying the benefit and the blood's on someone else's hands, and that's not very fair.
What if they want to hunt meat, or what if they want to raise cattle?
Oh, totally, but the idea of killing and taking a life, that we should really deeply consider what that means for us as human beings. You know, people have said you should judge a society by how it treats their animals. And we, you know, it'd be great if we had universal health care for our animals.
Universal health care for animals, that could be expensive.
We can afford it, look.
Really? Because we're $20 trillion in debt.
Cue the ham horn. Thank you if you made it this far. Just want to give a little bit of a reminder that next Monday in 4 days, math is hard, we'll be doing the second part of this podcast, which is the part that I'm probably most passionate about, is why and how you should debate your leftist friends on socialism. It's going to be a very, very fun podcast, very, very high energy. It's a very, very important subject to me, but I'm very excited for it. Look for it probably about Monday night is probably when I'll post it. If not Tuesday morning, I'll record it Monday night for sure. But again, thanks for everyone who made it this far. Share this video if you liked it. Like the video if you like it. Or just comment and tell me I'm an idiot. That's fine too. Thanks again, guys. I'll see you on Monday.